And like the Swallows returning to Capistrano, we're back. Another brand new episode of Let's Not Do This podcast on Wednesday. Switching it up this week, Wednesday, April 10th, the year of our Lord, 2024. You got the big O, Leon Oliver, sitting alongside two of the three unwise men. Sitting to my left, quite often my far left, one Sky Tuhati. How are you, sir?
Not too bad. Tired as shit, but other than that, pretty good.
It's almost like you stayed out drinking last night. We'll talk about
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's why I'm drinking a Coke instead of a beer.
Yeah, and a man that knows a lot about Coke, and a man that's used to being on the bottom, as he is on the bottom of this screen, the world's bottom, one Chris Green. How are you, sir?
I am painfully hungover and dying from all this pollen.
Oh, well, you people need to get your livers up and running because
what do you mean, you people?
You lightweights. As I was up at 4:30 a.m., bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
That might be racist.
Ready to rock and or roll. I have done my pre-show prep at a local watering hole, and now I've cracked open my first silver bullet of the broadcast here. So should be an exciting night. Something that wasn't too exciting, I guess, rather anticlimactic, was Monday, national championship game. UConn and Purdue, Huskies coming away with the win. Their sixth national championship, their sixth one in school history, and all since 1999, getting the win over the Boilermakers. Of course, the women's game rated higher, which was actually on ABC at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday, as opposed to the men's game that was on cable at 9:20 on the goddamn Monday night. But I digress. Did you boys make it through the whole national championship game?
No.
Yeah, I was
decided to. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
You go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying I decided to just cut it loose right around the 6 or 7 minute mark. I think I got in bed at like 11 o'clock, and that was the end of that for me. It wasn't close, so whatever.
Scotty?
Yeah, I was sweating out 2 or 3 bets, so yeah, I stayed up for the whole thing.
Of course you were.
I hit the UConn minus 6.5, and I was gonna bet the under, but then I saw the line dropped all the way to 143, so I was like, "Oh, that's too good of a price." So I bet the over, lost that. But I had a future on UConn, so I made some money on it. But yeah, not as exciting as the women's game.
Not by far.
UConn was just being UConn. Zach Edey was, I don't know if they just adjusted or if he got tired or what, but second half he was.
I mean, he still went
really there.
37-10, right?
Yeah, I went to bed at like
37.
I thought it was 37.
Maybe the under 8 timeout, something like that in the first half. I went to bed early. You could tell Purdue just had that look of a team that like wasn't going to pull this out, and UConn kind of went with a similar plan that NC State had. Like, hey, we're gonna. If the big man gets his baskets, okay, fine. And albeit NC State, I feel like defended them a little bit better, but we're going to make these other guys beat us. And they made the shots against State, where State didn't make their shots. And that supporting cast couldn't pull it out against a very multifaceted UConn team, which, by the way, I know you have Klingon or Klingon, whatever his name is. He looks like a Klingon. And then Tristan Newton, who was originally at East Carolina, but there's no mega star on this UConn team. You know what I mean? Like Duke, when Cooper Flag next year is going to Duke, or Carolina always has a blue blood prospect, or Kentucky, or whoever. Dan Hurley doesn't do that. They just find interchangeable pieces they can throw at you that works, and they just win. And I don't see an end to this UConn reign of terror over college basketball anytime soon.
We'll see. Dan Hurley is the best coach in the country by a long shot. I think he's proved that now. He recruits his kind of players and puts them into his system, and like you said, they're interchangeable. They got a bunch of guys who are around the same size, so they switch off on everything. But yeah, they looked unstoppable. And Zach Edey did have 37 and 10, so it wasn't for lack of.
Well, most of that must have been in the first half.
Yeah.
Or maybe some garbage points at the end, because I know like the beginning of the second half, it was kind of like where is Edey? I don't know, like he went a while without scoring. But yeah, the guard play was just in UConn's favor, like tremendously. Kind of the difference in the game. They weren't scared of Edey. The guards were scoring over him. They were throwing lobs over Edey. Yeah, they weren't scared of him. They were the better team.
Let me ask you this. So this is UConn's 6th national title. What is this, 3rd overall, I want to say, when it comes to national? Aren't they like tied for 3rd? Like 6 national championships. They've all been since 1999. I feel like UConn kind of gets left behind in this discussion of when people talk about blue bloods, for whatever that means, because that's a perceptive term. But I feel like people talk about UCLA, and obviously what their last one was like, 95? Most of that was with John Wooden back in the day. Carolina has obviously had their titles. Duke has had their titles. Kentucky last one won in like 2012. I want to say with John Calipari, who's now calling them Hogs in Fayetteville with Arkansas. But I feel like UConn doesn't get the respect as like a program that those other schools do. For you guys, from a perception standpoint, do you put them in this blue blood class? Like, where do you rank UConn when it comes to like the elite college basketball programs?
I think they're the new money. They've had the most success of any program since 99. Like you said, that's when we were coming up in middle school. So that's probably when you're old as fuck. But that's when I was able to actually pay attention and remember things. So, and they were good throughout the mid 90s too with Ray Allen. So I think, they've replaced a lot of the traditional blue bloods, UCLA, Indiana. When's the last time Indiana won anything? The Big Ten hasn't won since 2000 with Michigan State. So, yeah, I put them in the elites category of basketball tradition, especially after 6th in 25 years. It's crazy.
It absolutely is crazy. I mean, there's been a few years there where they missed a tournament, and they've had
also 3 different head coaches.
Exactly. I was just about to make that point. 3 different head coaches during that time span. I mean, literally, it's just interchangeable parts. I mean, Kevin Ollie won a title there. He ran them out of town on the rail a couple of years ago, but hey, he won a title there. I don't know, Scotty. Where do you look at the Huskies?
Yeah, I guess it just depends on what you consider a blue blood. I think most people, when they say blue blood, it just means they were good 50 years ago. It was pretty much what I mean, because that's all it is, really. But yeah, they got to be a blue blood. You mentioned since 1999. My 1 year at Virginia Tech, I saw the Ben Gordon, Emeka Okafor championship team, and they've just had like so much talent since then. Just so many guys went to the NBA, and they're just always good. They might have a down year here or there, but yeah, they're definitely a blue blood.
That like 2009 Carolina team, like Rashad McCants, who they've pretty much disowned, like Felton and all that stuff. Like that was probably one of the best teams that I've ever seen in terms of a team. But like UConn, I mean, like with 6 titles since then, they've tied Carolina for 3rd most overall. Kentucky has 8 titles, last one in 2012. UCLA has 11, last one in 95. And before that, last one was in 75. Duke has 5, the last one in 2015. I mean, like, you toss out UCLA back in the day, you look at Kentucky, a lot of that was under Adolph Rupp before integration. Carolina obviously had a run under Roy when he kind of saved the program in the mid 2000s to the late 2010s, whatever, UConn's been the model of consistency over the last 25 years. It's been the national college basketball program. And the fact that like they don't get the respect is just beyond me. And yeah, are their fan base assholes? Is Dane Hurley an asshole? Sure.
Yes.
But like, hey, they win, man. They just win. They just show up and they're gonna punch you in the mouth. And I respect it. I respect the hell out of what they do.
Do you think they don't get the respect because they don't care about football up there? Do you think that has any bias as to the programs? I mean, I know Duke isn't a traditional powerhouse, but they at least play in the ACC. They were FBS for a while.
I mean, you bring up a good point. You mean FCS?
Or FCS, yeah.
The program moved up, and obviously they've had some success football-wise under Randy Edsall the first time around with him. But yeah, no, I think you bring up a good point, Chris. I think they're in the Big East. This is their second stanza in the Big East. They were in the American before that. People forget about that too. They won titles as a Big East member in the old Big East, the American, and now in the new Big East. But because football isn't in a Power 5 or I guess Power 4 conference now, I feel like people, as you said, tend to look at them like they're new money. But they've been doing this for 25 years. Like I don't know. And if you're the ACC, the whole conference expansion thing, but if you're the ACC, how do you don't make this phone call and bring in the people from Storrs, Connecticut right now, especially when you know Carolina and Clemson and Florida State probably want to bolt. And if you want to be in semblance of a basketball league and keep that prestige, you should probably bring these guys down.
Yeah, I think maybe the women's team being so dominant for so long might have hurt their perception too. Because it's kind of like the women's team better than you.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're not a bad athletic department. Baseball had a decent run in college baseball a few years ago. I'm not sure about their Olympic sports. I forget they're good at something else. But I mean, football's had its spots. Obviously, they're rebuilding now, but that's a lot of potential there in Storrs, Connecticut. And let's face it, you're on the only game in town. If you're a kid from Connecticut and you got any sort of athletic ability, you're probably going to wind up going to UConn. It's like LSU. Like every kid that grows up in Louisiana wants to be a Tiger. Unless they can't spell, then they wind up going and being a Raging Cajun, which you really don't need to spell to go to LSU either. But,
Yeah, I was speaking of the SEC's academic prowess. There was a screenshot of, I think it was Mississippi State baseball player who's a senior.
Yes.
And still undeclared.
Yes, he was a catcher. And he was a senior. I forget the guy's name, but he was undeclared as a senior catcher at Mississippi State. We're not talking about Vanderbilt. We're not talking about Georgia or South Carolina, some of these academic, or Florida, some of these academic bastions of the SEC. No. This is Mississippi State. Like, you get applied to Mississippi State.
Is UConn a bad academic school? Is that why they haven't gotten a look by the ACC?
As far as I know, UConn's like a decent academic school. I think they would fit in there. I think the main thing that's like kept them on the outside looking in from the big boys, kept them out of the country club is football. Just across the board. And I think TV markets used to mean something back in the day. So they could try to sell, we have the New York market. And that's one of the things that Syracuse got in the ACC because we're New York's team, whatever Syracuse was. But those things don't really matter anymore. I think the ACC needs healthy bodies right now. UConn could probably be a good fit there. I don't know. I feel like they just don't get respect. Far be it for me to beat the drum, putting a Northeastern team on my back. But when the proof is in the pudding. When you look at what that athletic department's done, and I'd rather watch grass grow than women's basketball, but they're an absolute dominant force in women's basketball and men's basketball. You think basketball, you think UConn. It used to be Tobacco Road, but I feel like now you think hoops, you think Storrs, Connecticut.
It's leaning that way for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, any Any final takeaways from the game? You guys feel like UConn can keep this up, or is this like because kind of like when Kentucky won in 2012 and Calipari had all the one and dones. It's like, oh, this is the new way of doing college basketball. He's going to get all the recruits. They're just going to do 1 year and go to the NBA and go. Well, we see how that ended, and he's calling the Hogs now. Do you think like Dan Hurley having an older team, having some veteran guys, having some transfers, is this the new way of doing things? You see NC State making the run to the Final Four with a veteran team full of transfers. Is this the new way of doing things, or is this kind of like flavor of the month that everyone will catch up to?
You got to hit the transfer portal. You got to recruit talented freshmen who you know are only going to be there for a year, but you have to hit the transfer portal for upperclassmen. You got to have big, strong adult bodies who can play 40 games a year and take the beating that it takes for the NCAA tournament.
So not Scotty, because he's not strong. He's barely
trail boy,
but he can take a pounding.
Let's step on a basketball court one day and film it.
Hey, I'm like Khalid El-Amin, man. You kind of point the big man. And I can pass. I can shoot a little three, and I'm a glue guy. I dive for the loose ball.
If you dive, you're not
by glue guy. By glue guy, you mean you're stuck to the floor?
Pretty much.
Yeah, you're a glue guy.
Hey, not all of us can be our missing friend Ryan, who texted me that he is in Schenectady, New York, right now. So he's up there. I think Union College is up there. He might be getting ready to go on the college tour. He's going to be like a 47th year senior up there. But
undeclared.
Oh yeah, undeclared. He learned basketball when they had the peach baskets, and he was throwing elbows, and he was actually the first integrated basketball player in the South. Harriet Tubman was actually cheering him on as she was bringing people through the Underground Railroad. So we all don't have his basketball prowess, but I can handle myself out there a little bit. I'm like Nigel Big Jelly Dixon that was at Florida State. Bring me down the floor and I'm good. Back up, I'm going to cherry pick, kind of like DJ Burns versus Purdue. He's on Zach Edey. He was taking a nap,
Yeah, I don't believe you.
Yeah, I don't believe myself sometimes. All right, so then we get the Masters coverage coming up later. We're going to get into our picks. I got a lot of stuff on that. But, guys, I know UFC, this is a monumental one, right? UFC 300?
300. Yes, sir.
I know this isn't in the Apex in Vegas. Where's it at?
It's in Vegas.
Is it in like
T-Mobile Arena?
Okay, it's in T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah.
The training facility, Apex, COVID Dome or whatever. Okay. All right, so I'm not going to lie to you. I have not. You guys are more the UFC savants than I am, obviously. I've not paid a ton of attention to this. I actually didn't even put this on the rundown for today because I honest to goodness forgot because I've been in Masters mode because this is the best week of the year when the Masters comes. So I will turn the floor over to you guys. Chris, you are our rain man. You're pretty much good for nothing except for UFC. What are you looking forward to this weekend with this card?
This card starts off the early prelims. You have two former champions, Cody Garbrandt versus Davison Figueiredo, and the card just keeps getting better as you go up. Every fight has a big name. 10% of all of the champions in the history of the UFC are fighting on this card. Kayla Harrison's making her debut against Holly Holm.
She's still fighting.
Yuri Prochazka's fighting Alexander Rekic. Yes, she is. The preacher's daughter is still fighting. Jalen Turner's making his return. Jessica Andrade, Marina Rodriguez. Jim fucking Miller versus Bobby Green in the second fight on the prelims. It's just incredible. And I haven't even gotten to the main card yet.
Aljamain Sterling's on the prelim.
Yeah, it's unreal.
So this is a pretty monumental card there for those that are into the fight community there. I guess I know, Scotty, I know you have a pick that you're going to give out a little bit later, but looking at this card, what's something that you're looking forward to?
I mean, like Chris was saying, just pretty much the entire card. My boy Bo Nickel is fighting. Talk about him more in a minute, but yeah, he's the first fight on the main card. Then you got Charles Oliveira, another previous champ against Sarukian. I don't know if I'm saying that name right.
Yeah,
but he's a monster. You got the BMF title, the fake title, but Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway. I know Chris isn't the biggest fan of that fight, but it's going to be a banger.
It should be. It'll be entertaining.
Did I read somewhere where the BMF title has been up for grabs more in like the last year than the heavyweight title or something like that?
Yeah,
correct,
for sure.
What's the reasoning behind that? Like, why? If it's not
John Jones is hurt.
Just heavyweights get hurt and they need more time, I guess. And John Jones, I don't know. It seems like a lot of the heavyweights have been having issues outside of the octagon also.
I believe John Jones.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the main event, Alex Pereira and Jamal Hill. I think Hill could pull off the upset. I know this card didn't get the huge main event that it wanted, but I mean, it's the deepest card I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's the co-main is Zhang Wei Li versus Yan Xiaonan. Two Chinese fighters going head to head for Wei Li's belt. I don't know. I know Scotty knows this, but Jim Miller fought on UFC 100, 200, and is now fighting on UFC 300.
Yeah, that's
unreal. He's my favorite fighter of all time.
The hell is that possible?
He's a monster.
All right.
He's gonna get a win by sub.
I didn't bring up the co-main because I was not going to try to say those two names. So thank you.
That might be. Does the loser get sent to a re-education camp by Xi Jinping?
That might be racist.
I don't know if Winnie the Pooh is going to make an appearance, but it would be very funny to see him and Donald Trump sitting next to each other watching fights.
Does LeBron James have the loser's family make T-shirts and apparel at one of his mini sweatshops? Allegedly. Speaking of NBA, I'm sure you guys have saw this. As I rapidly flip to the channels to avoid NBA, I do see where Giannis Antetokounmpo is out for the rest of the year with a calf injury, out the rest of the regular season with a calf injury, apparently.
Yeah, they were scared that he popped his Achilles, but his Achilles is intact, so they're gonna sit him the rest of the year so that he can be ready for the playoffs. There's only a few games left, so it's not that big of a deal.
It's one of those things that
I'm grateful that he's okay, and I'm also grateful that he's not playing tonight because he's going against my Orlando Magic. And like from like 2 to 7 in the East is like they're all within like 2 games of each other. It's pretty wild. So we need that win tonight.
You're the Magic fan that's left. There's a Magic fan left.
We must have some fans down in Orlando. We got one of the best home records out there.
Is it just like the old people from the Villages retirement community that like when they go out there for swinger night? Is there like free tickets?
That and people my age from the Shaq and Penny days.
Okay. We'll get to a little theory I have about the old people later, because I did see a story where there are record numbers of people over 55 with STDs. Chris Green may be involved in that. I'm just going to put that out there.
You got about 15 years left, Leon.
But you're with the ladies that are over 55 and some men.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
All right, we'll get to that a little bit later. Any last thoughts on UFC before I transition to the Piece de Resistance this week?
It's going to be a banger. Find a way to watch. At least watch the prelims if you don't want to pay $80 to watch the fight or go somewhere to watch the fights. But watch the prelims. I think they're on ESPN.
And for us civilized people that wear collared shirts, there is golf this weekend. and it's the greatest golf tournament. It's the greatest sporting event of the year, the Masters. And I was going to download the music to have us to play, but I figured I did not want those guys coming after me. Condoleezza Rice would probably whoop my ass. So Chairman Fred Ridley, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it alone there. But Masters coming up. The Part 3 contest was today. I was kind of in and out of a few things. I missed majority of that. I'll have to watch that later. Looks like there could be some rain tonight into tomorrow morning, which will probably be a delay, maybe starting off tomorrow, but should soften up the course a little bit. Could see some low scores early on. I'm really excited for this. I know you guys have some picks you're going to get to. I'm going to take the wheel here for a second and toss in a couple things that I have here. I'll say my winner for later, but there's a couple props that I'm really excited about here, and these courtesy of DraftKings. Wyndham Clark. This guy has been playing phenomenal golf right now, and a lot of people are picking him as a favorite to win. I forget what his odds were to win, but do you guys know in the last 44 Masters that the last 44 Masters winners have played there at least once? So in the last 44, the modern era, there's never been a guy that played there the first time and has won. As good as Wyndham is playing right now, that you can't, factor out confidence. I'm sure he's got a practice round in here before there with someone, but it's different when you get out there and go out there. I don't like him to win, but I think a T20, his first time out, I'm going to sprinkle a little cash on here via DraftKings plus 120 for Wyndham Clark. Justin Rose is a guy who is, I think we may have lost Scotty. Justin Rose,
I'm here.
Who's not playing good golf right now, but he's a guy who's been around Augusta a ton, knows his course as well as anyone, has always played well here. And I think this is kind of thing to get him back up and running and going. I like Justin Rose at plus 165 for a top 30 finish. And then something that I feel you're pretty much guaranteed to make some money on is Phil Mickelson as a top senior player at minus 190. Lefty has been abysmal lately on LIV. He may have finished last week, actually, I want to say, at LIV at Miami. But, hey, Phil's a big game guy. He knows Augusta like the back of his hand. He rises to the occasion in majors. And I think the next guy was like Vijay Singh at like plus 600 or something like that. Yeah, that's probably the shortest bet of the week is Lefty as a top senior player.
What signifies a senior? Is it above 50?
55, I believe.
Holy shit, Phil Mickelson's that old?
Yeah, well, he got a few starts on the Champions Tour before LIV. Like he won here in Richmond before going to LIV.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Lefty had done well on the Champions Tour before making the move to LIV. And I feel like no one's talking about him. Last year, going into the Masters, there was all this stuff with LIV, and he was still getting bashed and this and that. He's kind of an afterthought right now. A lot of stuff with LIV is talking about the merger, what will happen, what won't happen. John Rahm kind of saying, hey, LIV should play 72 holes and this and that. No one's talking about Phil. So I feel like going to a place that's familiar for him, there's no pressure on him. It wouldn't surprise me to see Phil playing this weekend on Sunday. It wouldn't surprise me to see Phil backdoor top 20. But I definitely think he'll be the top senior player this week.
Is gambling live in Georgia?
As far as I know, the state of Georgia does not have live gambling.
Okay, so he won't be distracted. That's good.
No, he will not be distracted unless on the way down he stopped in North Carolina as the last southern state of Florida with legal gambling.
He's definitely either got somebody placing bets or he's driving down like in between days to a different state for sure.
Yeah, that's my props that I have for this week. Scotty, you want to start off with your Masters prediction for this week?
Sure, why not? I will say I do have a top 20 that I'm probably gonna pick. Shane Lowry.
Ooh, the
He's
Irishman.
been top. Yeah, he's been top 25 last 3 Masters, I think. I was listening to some podcast earlier, and there's only like 3 guys that have done that the last 3 years. So yeah, definitely like that. It's at plus 150 on DraftKings. But yeah, my pick to win is Rory McIlroy, as you see on the screen there. I'm not the biggest golf fan. I haven't really been paying attention at all, but this year. But usually McIlroy will take the tournament off before the Masters, and he played last week, and he came in third. And this is the one Master he's never won. He's played here so many times. He's played pretty well here. He's got a bunch of top tens. He came in second 2 years ago. And y'all know my favorite golfer is Scotty Scheffler. Cool first name. He's the best golfer, like by far right now. But that price is like plus 450, I think.
I think
some places are lower than that.
Last time I looked a few hours ago, he was at 40-1 right now. So.
Yeah. So if you were to ask me, like, if I had to pick one golfer to win, it's going to be him. But that's just easy chalk. But betting wise, yeah. If he struggles the first day a little bit, I might jump in and live bet him. But yeah, I think maybe this might be McIlroy's year. I don't know, not a whole lot of analysis, but like I said, he's played well here. He just hasn't been able to take home the green jacket yet.
And Rory looking to complete the career Grand Slam. I mean, it's been 10 years since he won a major, the 2014 PGA Championship at Valhalla. I mean, obviously the green jacket has eluded him. Last year, obviously going into this, he was kind of, carrying the shield for the PGA Tour. We see him kind of relinquish that stance a little bit in the stuff with Liv and being more open to the merger and stuff. So maybe he's playing more free without having that burden on his shoulders right now. I don't know, but I feel like, at least for me, I feel like he may be pressing because he's running out of chances to get that green jacket. And I don't know. I feel like Rory's the master of backdooring a top 10 in the major. In fact, I think I'm probably going to maybe live, depending on how things go on Saturday on moving day, sprinkle a little money on him to maybe backdoor top 10. I feel like he'll be hanging around 15, 20, and he'll probably end up finishing 7th or 8th, somewhere around there. But yeah, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Chris, any reaction to Rory?
I think he's a bum, and you're just burning your money if you bet on him.
Well, there's only going to be one winner, so I mean, we're probably all three going to be burning our money on our picks.
Correct. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Well,
yeah, so do the weather conditions? Do they help him at all? He's a big hitter, right?
He can hit the ball a bit. I mean, this place is like if you hit the ball straight, it doesn't make a big difference here. The way the greens are angled and stuff here, if you shape your shot left or you shape your shot right, it's all about like where you leave it, as they used to say. Iron play is going to be really big here, and he's pretty damn good with his irons and his short game. Tiger back in the day when he was on, he always left it on the right side of the green, and it's so important that Augusta. People don't realize like the undulation on this course, how hilly it really is, how challenging it is to walk. I feel like he's got a good shot, but I just feel like he's going to be pressing a bit there. And golf is one of those things where it's like you go into a major like this, there's 89 guys in the field. Well, you can already go ahead and chop out, the 7 to 10 older guys that are getting ceremonial starts essentially out there. And then like there's some guys at the bottom you can kind of cut off. And Brooks Koepka kind of said this a few years ago. There's really about 20 to 30 guys you really got to worry about to win at like a major, unless something just freak happens. You get a Danny Willett like before,
which is a crazy thing to think about. When 20 years ago there was one guy who could win.
Yeah, I mean when you go back and look at Tiger and the run that he had, I mean, and you go back and look at the numbers now for some of the numbers for Scotty Scheffler, it's. Especially when he gets the putter dialed in, which you don't have to be the best putter in the world at Augusta to win. If you go back and look at some of the numbers with Scotty, it's not Tiger quality, but it's in the ballpark. the run that this guy's been on over the last few years. But I don't know. We'll see what Rory does.
Yeah, but yeah, you mentioned that you think he's going to be pressing. That's why I kind of like that he switched it up and played in the tournament last week. I just change of whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
change the momentum.
Maybe change his mindset a little bit. Yeah,
not bad. Hey, it hasn't worked before. You got to switch it up and do something, right? It's like
pretty much. Yeah.
Enough women say no to Chris. Eventually, he talks to men. There's nothing wrong with it. Not that there's anything wrong with that. All right, Chris.
We're inclusive here.
Yes, we're very inclusive. We keep Chris on here. That's mainly so we can skirt a lot of ADA stuff. But we do have Chris. Your winner this week, and I think you got odds. These odds are from DraftKings. I think you got odds a little bit different somewhere else, but looks like you're going with Brooksy. With Brooksy there.
Yeah, Brooksy smokes the ball. He's a bro. Why not? Plus 1,600 here. I got him at plus 2,000 somewhere else. Let's go Brooksy. I have no analysis.
No, he's played Augusta well over the years, and this was actually my original pick, and I actually switched it before you sent this in. So the fact that you're on Brooks makes me feel better about not taking Brooks.
I mean, if both of you like him, there's no chance. He's not going to make the cut.
Yeah.
I'm placing that bet.
I mean, obviously, he's playing okay right now over on Live, but he doesn't give a fuck. He's cashing checks and banging Jenna Sims. He's got a kid, which, by the way, his son has his son Crew. He's got a little helmet kind of thing he has to wear, I guess, shaping his head. But they do a great job each week doing a different design on his little helmet. And it's the coolest thing ever. He just looks like a cool little guy. So, I mean, he's got a lot of good stuff going on off the course. Maybe that relaxes him. You've seen in golf a lot of times guys have that new baby bounce. Kind of, they go out the wind after that. Who knows? But I feel like he was riding high last year going into this, which he was, and he had a hell of a run at things. He's in the conversation. I feel like I'm going to probably end up laying some money before the week's over on a top 5 for him, but I don't know if I see him coming out with it. But who knows?
Why not?
Yeah.
He's got a cool last name.
Then for me here, after much oscillating back and forth, I'm going to go with Joaquin Niemann. He's one of the 13 guys out there from the Live Tour right now. And, Liv's taking a lot of shit, and people are like, oh, it's exhibition golf. They're listening to pop music while they're playing. They're wearing shorts. No one's watching, this and that. Hey, when these guys have a chance to come over and play in majors, they play well. And Joaquin Niemann right now is one of the best golfers and one of the best ball strikers on the planet. And I feel like no one's talking about him because he's on the Live Tour. But I feel like him and the rest of the Live guys are going to come out and have something to prove. And I like I think it's really good value having a guy like that at plus 2,800. This young Chilean, I think, is going to have something to prove here. And it wouldn't surprise me to see him in that final group on Sunday. And I think the way he shapes the ball with his shots, they fits him with this course. He can hit it long. His iron play is good. He's not a bad putter. I feel like this course is set up for him. I originally had Brooks. I pulled back, and I was oscillating between Tony Finau and Xander Schauffele. Tony's played great here over the years. It's only a matter of time before he breaks through and gets a big major win. Xander Schauffele, we're waiting for him to kind of have it. He's got all the tools. This course sets up well for him. But with the value and the way he's playing right now, I really like Joaquin Niemann going into this week at Augusta.
Cool.
Yeah, I think a lot of the sharps like Schauffele.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the sharps on Xander Schauffele. Wyndham Clark has been a big pick. A lot of people across the golf spectrum have been talking about Wyndham Clark. Problem is, this is his first time out. I'm probably going to put some money on him for a top 10, but it's his first time out there. Akshay, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. Akshay Patia won last week in Houston, playing great golf. He is actually the first one that was in the Masters drive, chip, and putt to actually be playing in the Masters. So I think it was 2014. he was a kid that was playing in the drop, chip, and putt, and now he's playing in the Masters. He did ding his shoulder up and kind of that weird ending last week in Houston, going into that playoff game to win over Denny McCarthy. But no, I like him. I just don't know if a first-time guy is going to come away with this week. But yeah, I like Joaquin Neiman. I think I really do feel like one of the live guys is going to make some noise, and I think he's the best of that bunch right now. So I'm riding with him this week at Augusta.
Cool.
All right, and then as we go from that, I know we have our parlay that we like to do each week now, stacking some things together here. Let's see if we can see that here. So our Let's Not Do This parlay this week, odds courtesy of DraftKings. Scotty, I believe you have Bo Nickel, so I'll let you start things off here with UFC 300.
Yeah, did a same game parlay for this. Bo Nickel in under 3.5 minutes. He's going against Cody Brundage, who's not very good. Another guy they're just throwing in there to get destroyed. He's probably the best guy he's fought so far, but still not on his level. I think Nickel's a future champion. All 5 of his MMA fights he's won in under 3.5 minutes. Brundage in 3 of his 5 losses, he's been finished, and a couple times in the first round. And yeah, I think he's just going to go in there and just destroy him, ragdoll him, and probably submit him in the first 3 minutes.
Bo Nickel is the UConn Husky of the UFC right now.
Just that much of an unstoppable force.
Well, compared to the guys he's playing, yeah.
Okay. And next up on the list there is me, and you're wondering what the hell is Denver?
Yeah, what is Denver?
Yeah,
Denver?
what is this?
Okay, so this is a little Mile High City combo right here. First leg of this is going to be NCAA. It's the Frozen Four men's hockey. DU, the Pioneers. Denver taking on Boston. In the Frozen Four, the 3 seed Pioneers taking on the 2nd seed Terriers. This is Thursday, so tomorrow, 5 p.m. there. Denver, of course, 2015, I want to say, national champs. I may be mixing that up with lacrosse, but they've had a great year. They play really tough hockey. BU's a really good team, but I like the Pioneers to get the win there and be playing for a national championship, trying to go for the double. Then on the other side of that, on Saturday, you have in the Mile High City, Georgetown making the trek across the country in a Big East matchup. Yes, this is Big East lacrosse. 6th-ranked Hoyas at the 10th-ranked Pioneers, 2 o'clock on Saturday. Denver, by the way, they have 2 losses on the season. One's to Yale and one's to Duke. That's a pretty damn good season right there. They shellacked St. John's last week. Coach Brown in his first year there, a former Denver player, former assistant, replacing the legend that is Bill Tierney there. I like their long stick. I love their attacks. I was a J.J. Silstrop, the graduate student, the attack there, number 5. He's one of the best attackmen in the country. I know I'm a bit of a lacrosse nerd, but couple games left before you get into Big East tournament play. I like the Pioneers going with the double. I'm riding with Denver this week. Ice hockey, Frozen Four, lacrosse, regular season game against Georgetown. Riding with the Pioneers for my leg of the parlay, doing the double dip there.
Riding that long stick, huh?
Love the long stick he does.
Hey, I was talking about an attack. That's a short stick, okay? We'll teach you lacrosse. You cretins.
Okay.
I'm a lacrosse fan, man. My team's good.
Hey, where Chris went to school growing up, they used lacrosse sticks to like just beat people. Once they stole them from playing against sports, they just used them in armed robberies.
I don't think they sold lacrosse sticks that are played against sports.
No.
I don't recall ever seeing one lacrosse stick in my life.
No. Well, look, lacrosse stick, crowbar, billy club. It's all the same out there. All right, Chris, it looks like you're riding with Eldrick this weekend.
I am. Once again, got a little bit. I got plus odds on a different site, but we'll take the DraftKings minus 115. Still good. Tiger could probably do this course in his sleep. He's dominated on it. He knows every shot on that course. The only thing that gives me hesitation and makes this not a sure thing is, can he walk 36 holes to make it to the weekend? That's the only thing that bothers me. But fuck it, we're rolling with Tiger. I used to be the biggest Tiger hater. Now that his career is winding down, I appreciate Tiger Woods. I want to see him do well because the sport always does better when Tiger's doing well. The last time that he won the Masters, I was hanging out with my friends, and it was an unbelievable moment. It was cool. So, rooting for Tiger to make the cut.
So, in Tiger's preparation leading up to the Masters this week, he is apparently, allegedly, according to someone in Tiger's circle, which I don't know how close you can get to Tiger and divulge these sort of things, but allegedly he's giving up sexual activity, unlike Chris, who's doing it pretty much not by his own choice. Tiger willingly. So if you're like a Perkins Steakhouse waitress or something, you get a sigh of relief this week because Tiger's not coming for you.
Unless he doesn't make the cut and then this weekend.
That's wrong. Does this hurt Tiger? Is this like Samson getting his hair cut,
No, Tiger is an ultimate professional. He probably just wants to make sure that his legs are loose and ready to fucking walk.
That's what she said.
Hey, I got a question. So if he does have to withdraw before the cut, will they void that bet, or is that a loss?
Probably a loss.
I don't know. I think it's up to the individual book. I guess if he goes through 3 or 4 holes tomorrow and just things aren't feeling right, and I think I saw a quote from him yesterday where he was saying like he's in pain every day or something like that. That's not what you want to hear going into the Masters. But at the same time, he feels like he's got one more left in him. I feel like depending on the book, if he's only after a couple of holes and pools, I'm sure someone will avoid it just as a goodwill PR thing. But if he's, second half of the day, if he's on the second 9, because they don't call it the back 9 at Augusta, if he's on the second 9 on Friday and those legs start throbbing and he has to pull out, which someone should have did with Chris, but if he has to pull out, I don't know if that's going to get avoided. I feel like especially if he gets a whole round in, I think it's going to count.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, fuck it, we ball.
Depends on how many people on Twitter get pissed off and tweet at the sports books.
Yeah.
I was actually looking for that prop, and I didn't see it on MGM. I may have overlooked it, but I was looking for the prop of will Tiger finish the weekend, and that I would definitely was going to take no on that one. I just don't think his body is going to hold up. I mean, look, we're all out of shape. Scotty's the most in shape of us, but he's skinny fat.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, and I was listening to Max Homa the other day giving an interview on Pardon My Take. That course is more grueling of a walk than what people think it is. And just if you're Tiger, I know he's been working out, but just the beating that his body has taken over the years, and then of course that horrific car crash, I just don't know if he can hold up for 4 rounds over Augusta. And the weather should help him. It's not going to be cold. You don't have to worry about things stiffening up too much, but I just don't know if his body is just physically there.
We're going to find out.
Yeah. We'll see. By the way, Chris, are you going to buy any of his, Sun Day red apparel?
No.
It is.
What?
He's got his own apparel now. He's not with Nike, of course. He had that deal expired. He's got his own apparel line now. It's called Sun, S-U-N. There's a space, Day, D-A-Y, and then there's another space, red.
Oh, okay.
It looks honestly horrific.
I have no idea.
You've never
Did he get to keep his logo, or was that a Nike property?
he apparently did not want to keep the logo with Nike there. So he kind of wanted to do a fresh start with everything. Let me see if I can get this pulled up and show it to you guys on the stream here. Give me 1 second to pull this out as I do a little vamping here. And go.
That's a fat parlay though. Plus 15.94.
Yeah, I put it into the odds calculator on Action Network with each leg there, and it came in at 15.94 there. So I'm gonna trust those guys there. Are we seeing this here?
It's spinning. There it is. Okay, that looks dumb.
Sunday Red. I don't know what that kind of.
What is? Oh, it's a tiger. It's a tiger.
Yeah, it's the weirdest looking tiger I think I've ever seen, like in my entire life.
Dead, decayed tiger.
Yes, that's his new apparel line, Sunday Red. This feels like something that like your mom would buy you at Kohl's and be like, "Oh, we got the Tiger Woods stuff," and it's at Kohl's. Remember when Shaq had the Warner Brothers shoes?
What?
Shaq had a deal with Reebok for tennis shoes, like back in the day, like basketball shoes.
Yeah.
But he also had a deal. Shaq's a pretty benevolent guy, likes to give back. He also had a deal with Warner Brothers, like the cartoon studio, for shoes that were in Walmart. And they looked just like the Reebok ones, except on the tongue, there was a big WB, Warner Brothers logo. And my mom bought me a pair of these. And she's like, "Oh, I got you the Shaq shoes." And I wore them to school, and everyone's like, "Oh, Leon's got the Shaqs." And I tried to keep my jeans pulled down so like the leg of the jean was over the tongue. But then like the jean leg rode up and everyone saw the big WB. It's pretty traumatic experience in my life.
Yeah. I had a friend growing up. He told everybody he got a new pair of Jordans, and we're like, "Oh, sweet." Like none of us ever had at that point. We were like in elementary school, maybe middle school, but so he shows us, and it's Jordache.
Hey.
Yep. I had a pair of Jordashes in elementary school. I think it was like first, second grade.
Yeah, I had some Voits that they looked pretty sweet, and I was like, "Yeah, everybody's gonna like these." And then I got fucking trashed.
Roasted to shit.
I wore Voit almost exclusively back then growing up, and I had an aunt that lived in Philadelphia that I spent the summer with my grandma and my aunt. She took me shopping, and she wanted to buy me. I think back then British Knights were big. She was going to get me that, and she was going to get me a pair of Jordans. And for whatever reason, I just never wanted Jordans. They just never interested me. I just never wanted them. And I got like a pair of Converse, and I thought like they were so cool. And I got clowned so hard. But now apparently kids like Converse.
Well, I think it depends on which Converse you got, because that wasn't my first pair of like cool shoes. Were the KJs, the Kevin Johnsons. And those were actually like nobody made fun of me for those. They were like, "Oh, sweet, you got the Kevin Johnsons." But yeah, I remember that was my first pair of like non-discount store shoes.
Yeah. Who knew that?
I got it from A&N, so I don't know if that's a discount store or not. But
who knew that he was eventually going to be the mayor of Sacramento one day?
Yeah, maybe. Jackson Holiday's coming up in 2 batters. First major league at bat.
For the
home run bet on him plus 875. Yep.
Well, there we go. Well, maybe he'll and this game's in Boston, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
making his debut at Fenway. It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Fenway, not near the Charles River, which is one of the most filthy, disgusting rivers on the East Coast there. So we don't have to worry about the ball going in the water. But I don't know. You guys know that the Olympics is coming up, right, in Paris?
I have heard that, yeah.
Yeah, 2024 Summer Olympics and the Paralympic Games. And apparently, as we transition away from sports, well, we are in sports, but as we transition from sports that matter to sports that people pretend to care about for 2 weeks each 4 years, the Olympics in Paris, apparently they did some testing on the waters there, and there is a alarming level of bacteria, including E. coli, in the Seine River, where they will be swimming at for the Olympics. I guess the triathletes are going to be swimming in the river here. Why can't they clean up the rivers for the Olympics? Do you remember like when they were in Brazil and they were finding like human arms and shit like in whatever river they were going to be, body of water they were going to be swimming in?
Well, how do you clean it? I mean, what are you gonna do? Just drop a bunch of chlorine tablets in it, and kill all the fish?
Well, in Brazil, probably, yeah. I don't think I'm going to be eating Brazilian fish that's off the coast of whatever. In France, I don't know. I figured like it would be a little bit nicer, but maybe those farmers have been dropping all the manure in there, maybe from their protests. They've been putting manure all over the government buildings there. Who knows? But
I've heard
you think France?
I've heard that Europe is one of the dirtiest places in the world.
And you think France cares about cleanliness?
Fuck no.
That's very true. That's very true. I don't know. I just feel like I thought they were going to be a little bit more sophisticated. Like they look at us like we're the stupid, fat, dirty Americans. I figured,
I mean, we are, but
everybody pollutes their water.
All the cool kids are doing it.
All the rich kids.
The rich people are. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you guys planning to watch the Olympics? Do you care any?
Of course.
Yeah, I'm guilty as charged as pretending to care about those sports for those 2 or 3 weeks. I love the Olympics.
Yeah, I love it. It's an event.
All right, look, I watch the things that matter: men's soccer, men's basketball, and boxing.
Clip it.
And when there's baseball, that's about it. But obviously, we're getting the Olympics in LA in 2028. So if we know that now we have E. coli in the rivers there in France where they're doing it, what can we do to spice up the LA Olympics? I've already thought about, rifle, like the shooting stuff, take them down to Skid Row, and that's where we'll have the Olympic shooting contest there. Arm the crackheads down there and see what they can do. Maybe we can get a team of LA crackheads to be our rifle team in the 28 Olympics.
I say we set a wildfire along the 405 and make the marathon go through rush hour traffic on the 405 with a wildfire in the background.
Yes.
We could do that with the high jump too. Just have like a stream of like just nasty, like polluted, and throw some extra shit in there.
Are they just jumping over like a 12-foot pile of hypodermic needles they picked up?
Yes, that works.
You jump over a homeless encampment.
Oh my God. Yes. These are the Olympics that we need. It's the 100-meter dash.
Get some immigrants, and if they make it over, they're good to go. I'm clipping. I will be clipping you saying I watch men. That's going to be a new soundbite next week.
Oh, thank you. After you steal a Kia, you do the 100-meter dash. With like a police dog behind you. Like that would be a great thing for the LA Olympics. We're on to like so much good stuff here. How far can you throw a hypodermic needle instead of the javelin? Like this is the LA Olympics that we need, and I'm excited for it. At least the good thing about the France Olympics, they're only 5-6 hours ahead of us, or whatever, in Paris. Yeah. So you can actually watch it. So you don't have to worry about getting up at like 3:00 in the morning to watch us beat some African nation in basketball, like when they were in China. So that'll be nice. And maybe Charles Barkley will say something offensive about another country. Didn't he make fun of like some African country when he was on the Dream Team? Something about these guys had spears or something shit like that.
Yeah, he said something like that. He elbowed that guy that was like 200 pounds lighter than him in the chest. He was hitting me. Like, no, he wasn't. Like,
Chuck was a fucking bully, man.
I think it was Angola or some shit like that.
Yeah, it was Angola, I think. Yeah.
And they were like taking pictures with them and telling them how like big of fans they were, and then he goes and does that.
If you think about it, like having like professional athletes in the Olympics is really fucked up. Like Michael Jordan probably made more than the GDP of like half the countries that they played. Like he's playing against some guy from like Papua New Guinea, like guarding Michael Jordan.
Yeah, it was not fair.
Yeah. All right. Well, So we're done with that there. All right, so going to the non-sports stuff, I saw this, and Chris, I'm going to start with you because naturally this makes me think about you. There was a user on Reddit that was asking the other day some questions, and it was, "What is the longest that you have ever gone without showering?"
You thought of me?
I don't know. When I think of like filth and like human excrement, I think about you.
That's highly offensive.
But yeah, what's the longest? And I'm not going to count when you were like a baby. Like it doesn't count. I'm going to go.
Right.
I'm going to go after puberty. What's the
Okay.
longest?
That's what I was gonna go with. Probably if I was really sick, maybe a couple days. Like if I was like stuck in bed and couldn't move because I was feeling so bad, maybe a couple days. But I guarantee you, since middle school, I've not gone more than maybe 3 days max without a shower.
Yeah, I feel like as a man, especially, once you go beyond like 2 days, like you're real. I mean, a day pretty much as a man, you're getting right.
Yeah, no, I hate not showering at least once a day. Sometimes I'll shower twice.
I'm like a cat. I will go two or three times. Sometimes I like to be clean, but
And you bury your shit.
Well, hey, that's more of a dog thing. They do like to kick up on that. I do dispose of my refuse in the proper receptacles there. But Scotty, how long do you think is the longest you've ever gone without showering?
Yeah, same. 2 or 3 days. I never went to work without taking a shower first. So only days I don't take one is if like I'm at home for a weekend and I don't do shit. I don't go anywhere. So yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Where
2
we
or 3
went to high
days.
school, you were not allowed to get away with not taking a shower. You would get fucking obliterated. So nobody was scared to tell you stank.
When I was in school, there was about 3 or 4 kids that you knew that smelled like bad Frito chips. You kind of knew that. You didn't want to get paired up with like a school project with those. And it wasn't, before people hop on me, it wasn't the question of resources of like, oh, maybe they didn't have a home with the shower or a home at all.
Did y'all have running water out there where you grew up?
We got it in the 60s. Of course we had fucking running water. We weren't in goddamn Pennsylvania, but no, there were some kids that I felt like they just chose to stink. Some people just choose foul odors. We had a couple of those, but the longest that I've ever gone, I think, was about 4 days, and it was because I was working in radio, and we had 2 pretty massive snowstorms back to back, and I stayed on air giving traffic reports and fell asleep at the console giving traffic reports and ended up getting snowed into the radio station. Like snow was like up above the door. Like you could not get out. And all we had in there was like snack crackers and pie meat in the vending machine. And it was like me, 2 FM DJs, and the cleaning guy. The guy that cleaned our office somehow got there at like 11 o'clock at night. He was out doing his job, cleaning other buildings. He got to our place. And like we were all snowed in there together.
Damn.
And there were no showers in this place.
Ugh, yeah.
Yeah, we were all quite right. But before snow had subsided enough to where one of the guys from the news department could rescue us in a 2-wheel drive, mind you, station Kia. And took me to a hotel where my wife, who was actually staying because she couldn't get home from work. I remember walking to the door of the hotel room, and my wife was my girlfriend at the time. Yeah, just goes, "You stink." Like Linus, you know how Linus has like those like stink clouds around him in Charlie Brown? I imagine like that was me at that point.
No, that's not Linus. It's Pigpen.
Pigpen, that's who it is. Linus has the blanket. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pigpen, there's just little stink clouds around. That was me.
Yeah.
Walking into that hotel room. It was like you feel embarrassed when you stink,
Well, you would think people that aren't used to stinking, they feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
Some people
Yeah,
don't
my
know that.
14-year-old has no shame. He doesn't care. It's very unfortunate.
Like the ladies at this point, don't even want to like toss on some brute cologne. They go holler at the girls.
He does not give two single fucks. He just wants to play his video games. It's very strange, boy.
So I do. I do always wonder, like shows like The Walking Dead, shows like that,
Ugh.
like in real life. In real life, they would smell like complete shit. Like,
Bro,
and they always have people. And then they always have like love scenes. I'm like, oh, they probably smell terrible. Like,
can you imagine?
Not to mention other things. Yeah.
People in the middle of the desert in like Iraq or Afghanistan, like in active combat situations.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right though. If you're like, let's say you're like special.
Like I know when they're at the barracks or whatever, they have the resources, but or whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called, but still, like if you're on a mission,
yeah,
you're fucking sweating, bro.
Chris, like if you're in the rear, as they say, in the rear with the gear, you know, you got a shit toilet, as they say, in the shower, and you got all those creature comforts. But let's say you're like special ops, like maybe some SEAL team guys or Army Rangers that you drop in before like we make a full-fledged invasion, you know, and you might be out there 6-7 days doing recon, you know, like maybe is there anything to like hold back your scent? Because maybe like you get 3 or 4 guys and like that little small group that's out there.
You don't want to give it away.
Yeah, it's what your position, you know.
We should look into that. We should ask some questions. I got some friends who served. I'll see what I can find out.
You know, Jocko Willenick is a former SEAL. He's always, you know, doing these motivational podcasts and this and that. Next time I listen to the Jocko podcast and they ask for questions, I'm going to ask him, how do you cover
there you go.
when you're out there, you know?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. But you brought up a good point, talking about like the Walking Dead, Scotty. Imagine in like the 1600s. Imagine like when like Jamestown, or something like that. Yeah, 1607. Like you brought chicks over from England. We had to like resettle over here. And you're gonna go bang some broad in Jamestown in 1607. She hasn't showered in a month. And the ride.
Imagine France in 2024. Same thing.
I think if you're born into it and you're always around it, you just get used to it.
Yeah, you go nose blind for sure.
Yeah.
And like, you know, in like those colonial days, the guys always, even if they were like digging a ditch, they had like a suit on, you know, and the women had like those dresses. There was like 15 layers deep with the hoop skirts. They were like the size of a goalpost, you know, like.
Well, maybe the first few layers kept the smell in.
Hey,
maybe it was designed for that.
It's like an onion. Once you start peeling that thing, though, you get closer to the core, man.
Brings tears to your eyes.
Chris, would you bang a chick from 1607 right now if you had a chance?
I'm not gonna say no to anything at this point.
We'll see what Pocahontas has to say when you find her. Here she might be spoken for, though. All right. Another thing I wanted to get to here. You guys familiar with the cicadas, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so those ugly ass bugs, they pop up, what is it, like every 17 years or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
I think some are every 13 and some are every 17.
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, there's 2 separate batches apparently they're popping up this year. And you're right, Scott. One is every 13 and one's every 17. I think we're getting what's called the Brood X this year or something like that. But apparently the Massapora infections with the cicadas, periodical cicadas, the dark brown red-eyed Brood X get a boost from the stimulant cathonine. Annual cicadas wind up full of cyclobin, the same chemical found in psychedelic mushrooms. Although people eat healthy cicadas, gross, experts do not recommend eating the cicadas for the fungus and its drugs. So apparently cicadas secrete or produce the same hallucinogen as mushrooms. Now, I have a solution. We have an opioid problem in this country. We have a drug problem. There's a food problem. Cicadas obviously make a lot of noise. They're pretty gross. Why don't we get the junkies? And I ain't talking about the sports junkies in DC. Why don't we get the junkies to do a public service and eat the cicadas? This solves a lot of problems. Hey, Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum, they want us to eat insects. They say eating insects reduces climate change. It's right there on their website. They've talked about this as an article from February 22. Insects eating them reduces climate change. All right, this solves a lot of problems. The junkies get a natural high. Crime probably drops because they're not going to be robbing people to get money so they can get heroin and stuff like that. Solves the hunger issue because they're eating, probably pretty lean protein, reduces climate change, and kills off the annoying cicadas. Who loses? Everyone's a winner. This is just like my idea to arm the homeless at the Canadian border with the feral hogs that are coming from Canada. You kill the hogs, the homeless have food. This is a public service. Ask not what your country can do for you, but for what you can do for your country. JFK said that before his brains got splattered all over Dealey Plaza. But let's look to ourselves. What civic good can we do? I think, you know what, we should all adopt a junkie and bring them a bag of potatoes.
Adopt a junkie.
You adopt a junkie. Bring them cicadas. They get a natural high. This is good for everyone. I've never heard of anyone overdosing on cicada.
You should try it. Maybe it'll help you lose some weight.
No, absolutely not, sir. Listen,
I want to see Joe Rogan and Mike Tyson do them together.
Hey, Aaron Rodgers, ayahuasca, maybe. Give him some cicadas. Maybe
he's probably got a cicada smoothie right now.
Maybe the Jets start doing cicada protein shakes next year, and maybe they actually get to the playoffs. Maybe his ACL or his Achilles stays intact.
They'll probably ban it. It's gonna be a PED.
Performance.
It's funny that you brought. It's funny that you brought this up because, like an hour ago, I had something on Reddit, like a notification, talking another cicadia story. So these same cicadas, they're getting a sexually transmitted infection, and it makes the male's balls fall off, but it also turns them into like hypersexual zombies. It was saying, so they're jumping around like trying to like mate or whatever, but they can't. And so then they start trying to make themselves look like females, so they'll attract the males, and then they just affect like everything they touch. Yeah, so yeah, hypersexual zombies is what I could find the.
Well, shit, if we didn't already have a podcast title, Hypersexual Zombies would be one, which, by the way, would be a great punk rock band. We're the Hypersexual Zombies. We're playing at the airport lounge. I don't know why it's like a bad German.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Yeah. Well, I feel like
Getting back to your roots.
You gotta be like a German band to be called Hypersexual Zombies. You just play Rammstein like cover songs all day. Du hast mich. We're the Hypersexual Zombies. It's like a really bad David Hasselhoff impersonation. Yeah. You know what? That's gonna be my new name for Chris. Hypersexual Zombie. That should be your wrestling name. You should wrestle.
This podcast has gone too long.
Yeah,
I think we fucking
I'm looking
off the rails.
Wait, what are you looking at?
Never mind. I thought I found a thing on. I was looking at an article earlier talking about it.
Okay. Well.
The sexual zombie cicadas. Yeah, that's why I knew that some are every 13 years and some are every 17 years because I just read it like.
Recently, well, hey, I'm just saying. When I run for office, these are my these are my platforms. We're going to have liquor be available nationwide, every state. I'm a big 10th Amendment guy, like states' rights, but fuck it, when it comes to alcohol, we're going to nationally have it available. You can walk into a CVS, a Walgreens, a Kroger, a Piggly Wiggly, whatever it is, and you can buy liquor nationwide. Platform number one. Platform number 2, the feral pigs are causing problems. We're arming the homeless, and they're eating the feral pigs. Solves the hunger issue. Get some exercise. We're on an obese nation that gets exercise for these people, and we're controlling
Okay, wait a minute.
feral pig population.
What are you gonna
What did
do?
the homeless get out of it?
Meat,
Food.
and
But-
exercise, and a civic sense of helping your community.
What are we arming the homeless people with, and how are we controlling that?
Small arms and pickaxes. They'll work together in teams. Band, roving.
sure?
bands. We used to hunt.
Homeless people are crazy, and they'd probably end up
Yeah.
killing each other.
Oh, we'll drop them off and
And
roll.
other innocent people.
You know?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
I
all
think
supervised. It's all supervised.
By who?
I don't know. Prison guards? I don't know what to tell you. National Guard. I'll activate the National Guard. And they'll, unlike Australia that lost the war to emus, if they get past the homeless, then we have the National Guard to mow down all the feral pigs.
Why don't we
can
just use them for that now
Yeah.
and leave the homeless people without guns? Because that's probably a bad idea.
teach a man to fish, Chris. Teach a man to fish. You cannot underestimate one doing something for themselves, pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. Okay,
Jesus Christ.
that's number 2. Number 3, we are going to get the junkies to eat the cicadas. Natural high, okay? And these things right here is for the betterment of all man in America, okay? This is my platform that I will run on one day.
These thoughts are not representative of everybody on the Let's Not Do This podcast.
Right. That'll be the first platform you've ever ran on.
Yeah. You know, what did they say back in the day? What was it? Chicken in every pot, in the car in every garage, a cicada in every junkie's mouth, and a feral pig in every encampment in Oakland. That's what we're
Yeah,
going to run.
we're getting canceled.
We might get promoted on one website, though.
And we're
That
speaking
might
of
be
which,
racist.
visit us on dear old Rumble there.
We forgot again. Yeah.
A little bit of leeway on that website there. We're on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X, and be a friend and tell a friend. But mainly, go to Rumble, like and subscribe on the Rumble, and watch the advertisements. Buy you some Trump shoes and some life water straws and some gold because that helps the podcast. You want to help the podcast?
Yeah.
Watch the ads on Rumble.
We don't pick the ads,
No,
but watch them.
Yes, we do not pick them. Please
but
do not think that we do.
if you watch enough of them. they
Or
get some-
maybe we do. I don't. Depending on who you are, maybe we do pick the ads. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, Scotty, hit the music. Let's get the fuck out of here.